All right, I'm going to turn on the camera. I'm in the middle of doing a data recovery for a Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, which is not a device that I regularly work on. And I wanted to do the video because I see a lot of comments on the channel about schematics and us sort of owing our success to the fact that we can find schematics for some of these devices. So I wanted to show what it's like to work without schematics. I don't have a schematic for the S6 Edge. There's, I think there's probably one out there, but I'm going to try to do this data recovery without the schematic just by kind of using some general knowledge about board repair. And I wanted to kind of walk you through my thought process on that. But I will say that I have planned to do a different video soon on data recovery. I'm seeing a lot of iPhones that are coming to me for data recovery that would have been recoverable if somebody hadn't tried to recover the data. So I'm a little bit on the fence about whether or not it's a good idea to promote DIY data recovery in general. But for this one, I just kind of wanted to use this as a project, not so much to talk about data recovery, but to talk instead about how to work on a board that you're not familiar with when you don't have the schematic. So let's take a look and I'll catch you up with what I've been working on so far. So this is an S6 Edge, and it's got this kind of weird thing going on. I have connected the board, it has water damage, to a known good battery. So I'll plug it in here to my known good battery, and I've got a known good screen. This is actually my good screen. And when I plug it in or prompt it to boot, the flash goes nuts and starts wigging out. So much so I had to put tape over it because it was killing my eyes. So I'll show you that. Ah! Oh my gosh. So it's acting like when it's enabling the display, there's no display, but it's activating this flash instead. So let's see if we can get a display, and I'll show you what I've been working on so far. So let's disconnect this, and let's start at the display connector. I can feel a little bit of heat in this area, so that's where I am focused right now. So let me take this board out and get under the microscope. All right, so under the microscope here at the connector, one of the things that I noticed first was that this pin here, hopefully you guys can see this, when I started this just about maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago, this pin here was corroded. And so that kind of tells me that it's important and that water was there. So if I look at these lines here, which I'm guessing are display, I can see that they go from the connector to a series of capacitors. Those look like capacitors, and I'm going to guess that they are in fact capacitors because they connect on one side to ground and on the other side to some line that goes to the connector. So let's get out the multimeter and set it in continuity mode and test for continuity to ground. So I'll put one probe on what looks like ground, and these capacitors have continuity to ground on one side, and on the other side they do not have continuity to ground. And I can take a diode mode measurement to sort of measure a relative resistance to ground on these, and my multimeter says 0.593 for that one, 0.518, 0.518, and then on this one, 0. All right, so we have a short, and I've taken off that little capacitor that was there, and I put him over here. This line, then, the one that had the corrosion at the connector, is short. So where does that go? It doesn't look like it goes anywhere here on this top side of the board, so I'm going to flip the board over. and now we've got a shield. And if we look kind of in the holes of that shield, I can see that there's corrosion that's under there that looks like it's never been addressed. So first question of the day, how do you get a shield like this off? So these Samsung shields are seriously anchored to the board, and one option would be to just put heat on this and try to melt it off just like I would with an iPhone. But I'm a little bit concerned that this is I'm guessing the CPU or the memory chips around here, and I don't want to put too much heat on them if I can help it. I think it would take a lot of heat to get a big hunk of metal like that off the middle of the board, and I don't know if this solder is a low melt variety like is used in an iPhone. In fact, I think it's probably not. So to get these shields off, I'm going to use a strategy of changing the solder around here to the low melt kind. Oh, here I'll make a little plug. I get asked a lot all these equipment questions, which generally I don't answer. Somebody else can come along and answer this stuff. I've mentioned equipment in a lot of other videos. Maybe one day I'll make it a video. But I get asked, what flux do I use? And so here's the answer to that. It's the Amtech 559 flux. Where do you get it? I buy this from Lewis. He is one of the few legitimate flux sellers. If you go to eBay or Amazon, you're going to get fake Amtech, which I have done before and learned that the hard way. So now I buy it straight from Lewis. He buys it in bulk straight from Amtech, and I don't want to have a ton of it. I just want to have one tube at a time, so that's why I buy it from him. How do we get this off? We are going to use another product, a low melt alloy. So this brand of low melt alloy is Chip Quick Removal Alloy. Chip Quick Removal Alloy, and it is great for removing things that suck up a lot of heat, like a big shield like that. Chip Quick alloy is not something that you would ever use to place a component in general, because you could probably melt it just by breathing on it, or if you were to put the phone in the dashboard of your car, then all your connectors would melt off like they were made of chocolate. All right, so let's go back to the microscope and let's see. Now I've never done this before, so this is just kind of using basic board repair skills. So I'm just going to use my mini hot tweezers to try and reflow these shield joints with just a little bit of the Chip Quick. And I want to kind of stay away from all of these components because I will float them off if I also reflow them. All right, and I think it's probably a little bit too difficult for me to get in there any better. We can see. Yep, that's not going to work. All right, so that's the best that I can do on that. So now I can use a relatively low hot air to try and get this bracket off. All right, so it seems like it's ready to come up pretty easily on the sides that I could get to. All right, so I lifted it enough that I think I can use kind of maybe a wiggling motion to get it to release from that difficult side. Come on, you can do it. Yep, there we go. And we lost a dude. All right. Ah. Okay. Now, with every kind of shield removal that's like this, you have to pay attention to your collateral damage. And in this case, you can see that I nudged one of these things that look like data chokes. And I don't know what they really are. Clean off the rest of this low melt from this area. Okay. So before we do anything else, I want to put back the guys that got kind of displaced during that. So these things are probably inline components, that would be my guess, and they probably need to be there. Okay, this guy, let's put back. Okay, so let's kind of see what we have in this area then. I'm going to clean it up a little bit with some alcohol and a brush. Pick out this solder ball. Okay, so now we can see this, there's a couple of chips here, and we have no idea what they do, but there's you know, a chance that these guys are related to image or display. All right, so this is our shorted line here. Let's make sure that it is still shorted. And it is, so we'll flip back over here. Try to see where it would probably go. You know, so it looks like, my guess is the ugliest looking cap that I see. This guy is probably on that line. So let's see if he is also shorted. So I'm going to put one probe here on a ground. So I've got a probe on ground, and now let's test. Nope, so he has a diode mode reading of 0.271. Let's see if anybody else is shorted. 0.294. All right, so those guys are all short and almost certainly are not supposed to be short to ground. This is an ugly looking dude. Let's see if he's short. Nope. Get that solder ball out. Nope. And you can see on these that this is ground, this is ground. Okay, so let's look around the area for anything else. Let's look at the ugliest looking capacitors. Okay, so from this, my conclusion is the ugliest looking capacitors are in fact not shorted to ground. So that means that the source of the short is likely under the chip itself. My guess is that these look like some kind of an inductor, and just sort of reading the board, when I look closely at that, I don't see that this guy has any path to ground. But I do see that it talks to the chip in two places here. So I think that's a problem. That's not correct, and it kind of tells me that my next step would be to pick up this chip and look under this chip. So since I'm less familiar with this board and I can't look things up, I'm going to be real sure to pay attention to the orientation of the chip in case I have to reball this one and put it back. All right, so let's kind of let that dry off. I see the dot is here, and this chip has the dot there. Now I could, and I probably will, pay attention to the writing on the chip and see if I can go, Google and find out a little bit more about that chip and what it does. So MPB02 600 VYC chip with a dot right there. Let's go ahead and take that chip off and see what it looks like underneath. Alright, so I'm going to use kind of standard desoldering temperature for hot air. And I'm going to use a coin or something to sort of, shield the bigger chips that are off to the side here. Alright, so paying attention, the dot is here at the bottom left. Oh, it's getting kind of late night messy around here. So that I can pick it up with hopefully not stirring the pot here. Definitely time to get some better tweezers here. I'd hate to have to steal marks. Alright, and it looks like utter shit under that chip. So put the hot air away. And let's get a look. Yeah, so that is disgusting. And let's look at the chip itself. That is even more disgusting. So I don't have a lot of confidence in this particular chip that if we were to clean it up and reball it and put it back on there, that the chip itself isn't damaged from all of that corrosion. So let's kind of put it aside and clean up this. That's some serious corrosion under there. All right, let's clean that up with alcohol and Q-tip. All right, now let's take a look. Take a look at that. Wow. All right, so we've got, you know, serious corrosion on a couple of these pads, and these may in fact be gone. I'm not sure if we can redeem them or not, but let's use a smaller tool and see if we can actually scrub them to get them to be potentially able to accept a new chip. Come on back to me. Don't be gone. Don't be gone, because I don't know where you connect to. All right, let's try this dude. Looks a little dry. Let's put more flux there. See how the water, you know, kind of follows the circuit. This guy is actually not shorted, and his line seems to be holding a reasonable resistance to ground. But the pad, it looks horrifying, so we'll try to help it out a little bit. All right, now none of this has to be perfect. We're trying to get data, not save the phone here. All right. Now let's clean that off with a little bit of alcohol. All right, that's better. And it could probably accept a new chip. Now this one, this very similar chip over here, I think I'm going to leave alone for now, just because I don't see that same corrosion around the border of the chip. And so my guess is that it's not a high voltage display line, so it may have been spared. All right. Now let's go back and see if any of these shorts are gone. So I'm going to find a ground spot, and I hear nice and quiet. Except for him, god damn it. So that, I bet I have, that's probably something I did with my, you know, maybe this guy here is probably touching ground. So let me fix him up. Yeah, my guess is that is me making a mistake in there. Let me first check my original short and see if that's gone or not.
You might want to check
All right, so let's start by just taking that dude off. So Mark, when have you fixed Samsungs for like not chip off data recovery? I thought that all the ones you did were chip off.
Before I knew how to do that,
Oh yeah? Alright, I'm gonna just leave that guy off. I think I need to take off that cap too.
but also in the S6 or S4, S5,
All of those what?
everything from the mid 4 and S5 here up
Yep.
to the
Do you have Note 4 donor boards? Nice and quiet. All right, I kind of am interested just to know if it was this cap was in fact bad or not. Let's find out. It doesn't look bad. Nope, he's not bad. I'm gonna stick him back on. See if he'll blow away. All right, let's see what's going on in here now. Okay, nice and quiet. All right, that all seems to be fairly normal sounding. Yep, all right, so capacitors in general have 1 foot on ground and 1 foot on the line. So all of that seems to be fairly normal. So the next step is to, well, let's check our original short, which is probably gone. Yay, quiet. Okay, so from that we can conclude that the chip that we just took off was the cause of the short, and maybe that's all that's wrong. I think it's reasonable I think we're going to need that chip, so we're going to have to get a copy of it from a donor board. All right, so my choice now would be to attempt to clean off that chip and then I could test that chip itself, you know, to try to probe around and try to figure out if there was, you know, parts on the chip that correspond to pads here that used to beep to ground. I could sort of try to see if there was an internal short within the chip, and then if I found that the chip was good, then I could get a stencil and some balls or paste, reball the chip, put the chip back on, and go. However, I happen to have a matching board for this, so I have a donor board. So instead, I'm going to just harvest a known good chip from this, and I'm going to try, ideally, to do a clean lift. If I can do a clean lift, then I might, depending on how the balls look, I might risk it and go ahead and try to place it so that we could, you know, just sort of get data as fast as possible, rather than having to reball the chip. So let's see if I can do that. Okay. So which side is it on? Right here. Under that shield again. Now since this one is a donor board and I care less about what's going to happen to it, I think I'm going to see how much heat does it actually take to get this shield off without using Chip Quick, just to kind of know that. So I'm going to crank up my heat a lot. All right, that's not terrible. I might try that the next time I do it. Okay, so now here is the chip that I want to harvest, ideally with a clean lift straight up. So that it will evenly take its balls with it. Crank down the heat a little bit. Now, all of the questions about what temperature are you using? I am picking temperatures based on really the sound of the airflow and about how long it looks like it's taking things to heat. I do not pay attention to the actual numbers. And what we've had the course all week, and we've really kind of seen during the course, you know, that we have multiple copies of the same exact station, and they all behave differently. They even behave differently in different people's hands. So you gotta learn your own station. There's no substitute for learning your own station. So I'm pressing down into the board, and I'm gonna wait until I'm pretty sure that everything is pretty liquid. I'm going to kind of give it a little bit of a nudge, and I'm going to come straight up. Not a fantastic clean lift at all, so I'm probably going to have to reball. Alright, let's look. Alright, definitely reballing time. Alright, so there's no choice but to reball that because I did a horrible job. Alright, so hopefully I can find some kind of a stencil that is gonna fit that more or less. That will be probably the biggest challenge. So I'm gonna put it on a piece of tape. And I am probably one of the world's worst reballers because I rarely do it. Okay, let's hope we can find a matching stencil from iPhone Stencil Land. What looks like a matching stencil to that? That looks pretty straightforward. They're pretty widely spaced. Let's see what might match it. Wonder if Samsung stencils, like, does anybody even do this? Do we have, are there Samsung stencils out there?
I never looked into it. That's why I did pyramids on that note before I did.
Oh, Jesus, really?
Yeah.
Boo. Well, you want to tell me your pyramid technique?
Just no flux, micro pencil with a blob of solder on the tip of it, and lots and lots of cussing.
A lot of cussing. Okay. How big was the chip you had to do?
250 something balls.
That's a lot of balls, Mark.
Yeah.
That took a lot of balls, I'll have to tell you. All right, well, let's see how hard that is. Did you file the micro pencil tip?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so Mark says we're going to go with the pyramid method, which is absolutely horrifying. Surely these balls don't have to. Was it for data?
Yep. Of course.
I'm just seeing how dumb you are. You know, I'm just making sure. So a huge blob of solder, and then you're just touching it with the blob of solder.
And letting it, create little peaks.
Okay. All right, let's see how hard that's going to be. I think that's going to be seriously hard.
You just have to make sure there's no trace of flux.
No trace of flux. Would you do it again? I was hoping for sure, it wasn't so bad. But that's not what I'm hearing, like, at all.
Well, it took most of an hour to do.
Wow.
I feel like that was...
That was like a proof of concept, one time only deal?
Yeah.
If I had known this in advance, I would have damn sure gotten a clean lift. I would have built some kind of a contraption to suck it off with a vacuum or whatever. All right, that's probably not enough solder. Let's see. Oh my God. Painful, painful, painful. All right, we'll try to take it from there. All right, let's develop this technique a little bit. So was it a PMIC that you were doing? Did you start from the middle of the chip and work out?
No, I just start from one corner and go down rows. I hope you plan on being here for a while. How many balls does that mean?
Looks like about 400. It's a CPU.
What? You're reballing a CPU?
Yeah, I'm reballing a CPU. Why not?
No, you're not. Shut up. It's a display driver.
This is one for the serious guys to get a good laugh at. This will be one for like all the people we know to just absolutely die of how lame this is.
Yeah.
Watch just a lame, world's worst pyramid method ever. All right. This is called speed pyramiding. It's like speed dating. I don't understand why a display driver needs to have so many different connections. Like, what else is it doing? Whichever one is for strobe, I need to delete.
Well, why don't you just check the schematic?
Because I don't have a schematic.
Oh.
Because, Mark, you don't have to have a schematic to repair. I don't know if you know that. All right, let's get out some balls and see how hard it is to displace balls. Those are really small. Too small. Those are size. My balls are too small, Mark. Got out some 0.2 balls, and it's just not happening. Let's try.
Why don't you do the Mead method of using the balls?
That's what I'm doing, yo. All right, let's try some 0.3 balls. Because this is a great idea. Now it is 2 o'clock in the morning. Just FYI. Just in case you needed a little timekeeping. Whoa. All right, those balls look a lot more reasonable. All right, so what's my new method here? How do I get these balls to not just go crazy? These balls are too big. Huh? Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to call a consult on ball management.
I gotta get these kids up.
Not you. You're not a ball expert. I
know my way around these balls.
You know your way around some balls?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm a ball noob. How can we turn this into a hangout so that I can get a consult? This is what I think is great about working with friends and not like trying to do everything yourself. All right, let's get a consult. This is a good idea. All right, balls I've given up on, and pyramids it is. And let's just keep on keeping on. I think the secret to this is getting the solder to be a pyramid like that. Like if you can get your solder to be pointy, then you can put it where you want it. All right, I think I've got a little bit of a handle on this pyramiding. So what I've learned here in pyramid school is A, seriously try to avoid ever having to pyramid. B, if you do have to pyramid, it looks like the secret is very dry and very clean. And if it's very dry and very clean, then it seems to be doable. So you get fresh, oh, that's turned off. A fresh ball of solder on your tip. Boo. And then you get it to kind of hang down a little bit. And then when it stops working, it seems to be you've got oxidation of your ball or your pads. And I think I'm going to accept that I'm going to just come in here and do a couple of balls. Just place a couple of balls. All right, that is a good start. Let's see if I can do a little bit better here. And then I'll flow them, and then I'll kind of fill in the smallest ones with placing balls by hand. All right, I'm gonna stick with that and flow that. All right, let's put flux on it. Now let's round up them. Round them up. Pretty shitty, but let's see if we can add in a couple. I'm pretty sure that one positive thing about this is I found a great way to punish my kids. Make them reball a chip. Alright, the world's worst chip, reball. Alright, that is pretty shitty, but everything's got some kind of a ball. I don't recommend ever trying to do this, but we are going to move on. What were we fixing? Does anybody remember? Let's see. Hopefully we can remember the orientation. I'm going to put some heat on my spot here. I'm going to harvest that missing inductor. And hopefully remember the orientation of the chip. Which was that. Oh my god, this is horrible. World's worst reball, like, ever. But worst case scenario is having to do it again. Finding out where to source this chip new is probably possible just by reading it. Right now, let's flow it on there and let it find its spot. Okay, let's make sure our short is still gone. That definitely went to sleep. Nice and quiet. Nice and quiet. Okay, that's all we can do for that. So, let's see if it makes a goddamn bit of difference. And I think this will be our stopping point regardless of the outcome here, so let's give it a try. All right, so the computer is detecting it, so that means it's on. That's definitely some progress. The flashing strobe has stopped. So now we just have to figure out how to get a display. Let's see if we can see anything. Okay, we have to keep thinking about this then. All right. I don't think that capacitor is important. I guess we can move over that cap from the other board. I don't think that would do anything, but maybe. So I could do some diode mode measurements between a good board and this bad board. I'm a little concerned. I think this might be missing a pad. So let's try to get a little jumper to that dude. Oh Jesus, it's 3:13 a.m. I need to quit. All right, let's just use a piece of braid. Oh, my contacts are driving me crazy. All right, God damn it, this keeps clicking off. All right, let's just see if that was an image filter and if that makes any difference. All right, let's try this again. I reflowed it and knocked it around a little bit. All right, please light up. It is seriously late. Oh, temperature warning. How about cool yourself down? Show me a display, motherfucker. Show me a display. Come on, you can do it. Is it actually hot? That sucks. Ugh. No. That is pretty cool. Oh, seeing that is awesome. Oh, seeing that is awesome. All right, I don't know if that means the battery is, if it's a temperature thing, or if that is I can't charge the battery. That is pretty cool. Yay! All right, I think I'm gonna go home because it's seriously late. But yay, this is progress. So I'm excited, and I hope that you guys never have to pyramid reball because that sucks. Oh my gosh, this is, I think, my favorite repair ever. So I took the battery out and I charged it. Yay! I charged it. Yay! Oh my god, this is my favorite repair. Yay, 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 yay. Passcode. I charged it in I used the donor board to charge it up for a little bit. And it has a display. What is this passcode? Tell me your goddamn passcode. And it is 5 o'clock in the morning, and I need to go get some sleep. 9270. And while I was waiting for it to charge, guess what I did? I ordered the stencils for the... Oh my god. Seeing that is the greatest thing ever. What was it? Oh, I can't even remember what it was. And oh my god, I'm tired. $9270. Yay! Oh, isn't that great? Yay! 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 And this, I think, is one of my favorites. All right, let's get their data. And bed! Yay!